right, folks, we're back in the Jail the Bossman show. We're joined by the new coach of Nicholls State, the Colonels, Austin Claunch. Coach Claunch, how's it things down there in the swamps of Louisiana, man?
What's going on, man? Things are great down here, man. We've got a couple of our guys on campus right now for summer workouts. We've got a lot of guys we've had to sign since we took over here in April, and we've got one more scholarship we're trying to finish up here and just preparing to get on the road in July. But everything's good down here, man. A little bit of rain here the last couple of weeks, some much-needed rain. So everything's good down here, man. How's everything out in Atlanta?
Coach, can't complain, man. It's the off-season for me. I have 6 weeks until Falcons training camp starts back up, so I'm going to enjoy it while I can and live it up while I have to travel with the Hawks or the Falcons, my bud, my man, before this things get going in late July here.
I hear you.
Now, Coach, how does it feel, man? You're 28 years old, got your own team, Nicholls State. What does it make you feel about the administration to say, hey, even though Coach Claunch is young, he's a young guy, we trust him to lead our program here and what we got going on in Nicholls State going forward?
Well, I mean, of course, it means a lot. To be part of the success that we've had the last 2 years, being under the tutelage of Coach Riley and, our whole staff. I think for the administration to, kind of have the confidence in me to say we want you to take the torch from Coach Riley and continue building with the success that we've had, these past couple of years. It certainly, gives me a lot of confidence. Like I said, we're excited. Their excitement and me excited going forward. Our players are. But I think you look around at our athletic department, all of our sports teams are doing, really on the rise. So for them to kind of look at me and say, hey, we're trusting you to, continue with the tradition that we're trying to build here, it's really exciting, no doubt about it.
Now, Coach, you feel like by you being close in age to the guys and also you having success with Coach Riley, that gives you instant credibility with your locker room and with potential recruits because you've probably been calling some of the guys that you're trying to go after. You ought to be able to bond with those guys. How's the coaches in the state know about you as well? So you feel like this is an easy transition for you for us, having to deal with the guy by your age also because you've only been on staff. You've already made a lot of calls, built a lot of relationships down in Louisiana, so people can always say, hey, you go to Nicholls State, you'll be all right.
Sure, no doubt about it. The last 2 years, I've developed a lot of relationships with guys throughout this state, really the whole Southeast, not just high schools, but junior colleges. Because we recruit transfers as well, you develop relationships with people all over the country, You talk about me being close in age with a lot of the guys, we're recruiting, and to me, it's a huge advantage. It wasn't too long ago I was in their shoes, playing college basketball, and I understand it's a lot. I think sometimes as coaches and adults, we sometimes forget, what goes into a 20-year-old's day when you've got basketball and you've got academics and, we're asking them to run in the morning, go to class, come to practice, go to study hall. Before you know it, their entire day's gone, and there's not a whole lot of time for them to, kind of choose what they want to do. You know what I mean? And it's hard. College athletics are hard. Division I athletics are hard. And I think, me not being too far removed from being a college athlete, I played at the Division III level, but still, not too far removed from being a college athlete, I understand the daily kind of grind and struggle that it is. I think that there's an aspect to that the players respect and can relate to. So, no, definitely.
Now, Coach, for you, what's been the biggest adjustment for you moving that seat up to being the head man from being an assistant? What's been the biggest adjustment for you so far?
Well, I just think, it really comes down to at the end of the day, you are calling the shots. I think as an assistant coach, it's, I always, you always want to have, your opinions, and you always want to have, ways to help the head coach. But at the end of the day, now it's ultimately my call on who we take, how we're going to play, what we're going to do in workouts. And the biggest thing now for me is just, being sure of yourself and trusting, trusting how you want to run your program, trusting the guys you're recruiting. People ask me all the time, never being a head coach, You know, 28 years old, never been a head coach. You know, how do you sort of adjust to certain things? And, you know, I am 28 and I've never been a head coach. And what I tell people though is these are the first time that I've been asked these questions. I've been asking myself these questions since I was 18 years old, how I would do this, how I would do that. And, you know, did I ever think I'd be this young as a Division I head coach? No, probably not. But I'm certainly prepared for this moment for a long time. So to me, it's just trusting your gut, being sure of yourself, and knowing that if you put in the work and commit to what you're doing, and have guys buy into your vision and your identity for your program, you're going to be successful.
And, Coach, that's how I feel, too, because, you know, I'm 31 myself, and I've had my own show since 25 in 2012. Wow. So I got my master's degree went right in the radio. So wow. I know how you feel. Like, what? You're 25 with your own national syndicated radio show? Yeah. How did you get that? Because I believed in myself. I've always been preparing for this. While I was interning, I was preparing what I would do differently, what I would think I would do this segment this way. I would ask this question. So the same how you feel about you doing this for long. That's how I feel when I got my break in radio.
Right. And I think the other thing is, you know, it's important to mention I worked with a great staff and I worked with a great boss, and, you know, I feel like I've hired a great staff and I've got people around me. You know, no one does this on their own, and I've got guys every day that are, you know, working. It's not about working for me, but they're doing everything they can to help our program win every day. You know what I mean? Whether it be checking classes or, you know, if I'm in a meeting with our athletic director and they've got to get started early, you know, with the workout, I trust those guys, you know, as much as I trust myself, quite frankly, you know. And I think you could probably talk about guys that have helped you in your career. And I think anyone that's gotten to be, I think anyone that's reached their dreams, wherever, you know, whatever field it is, you know, can talk about people that have inspired them and pushed them to get to where they are.
Amen to that, Coach. And Coach, you got to touch on a little bit, Coach, with the roster composition. With Nicholls State being in the Southern Conference, I know you guys are going to take JUCO guys, transfer guys, grad transfer guys, some sit one, play two, sit two, sit one, and play one. So, and also with high school guys. So, as you go for building out your roster, what's the ideal mix you want in recruiting when you compose your roster each year?
Well, I mean, I think you just kind of said it. You want a mix, right? You know, I think I don't necessarily try to write down we want X amount of high school guys, X amount of JUCO guys, X amount of, you know, transfers, things like that. You know, we are going to sit out a few kids this year, and kind of, you know, I think when you look back at how we had our success these past 2 years, you know, we set out two guys that were really successful for us this past year. You know, two all-conference guys, and of course, we had a lot of other pieces as well, but I think it's important to have guys sitting out that you want to develop, and then, you know, you also, of course, have your, you know, 9 or 10 scholarship guys that they're going to play for you this year. In terms of where they come from or, you know, what level, JUCO, transfers, high school, you know, to be honest, I just think at the end of the day, you want to try to get the best kids, great kids that are good, you know, good locker room guys, like obviously talented. And you try to make that mesh. You know, I don't necessarily try to focus too far into the future. You know, ultimately, I want to be successful next year, you know, and I think we've put together a roster that can do that. You know, we've got great character kids. We've got guys that are going to work hard. And whether they're 18 years old or 22 years old, quite frankly, it really doesn't matter to me. You know, I want guys that are going to come in ready to work, be great teammates, push each other every day. And if they happen to be older and we got to, you know, go get some more kids next year, then so be it. You know, we got really lucky. We had two freshmen last year, you know, that had great years. Raji Lyons and Kevin Johnson started for us over half the season, both of them. You know, I think Kevin Johnson might have even led us in minutes played. Those are two guys that, you know, high school guys that we, you know, that now we're building around, you know, and I think one thing that's been great is we've had success these past 2 years with guys from every level. You know, we had, like I just mentioned, two freshmen that started over 15 games. We had JUCO guys that were all conference. We had transfers that were all conference. So, you know, I think we were able to prove a little bit, you know, that we can develop guys, and whoever it is, you know, if you come in and work hard and put the time in, you're going to have a chance to be successful with the way that we play.
And Coach, you kind of led in my next question, What would be your playing style for this roster going forward? You be trying to play fast, defend and rebound, attack on defense, switching. So, based on the roster you have right now, how you see yourself playing this upcoming season?
We're going to play fast. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I want, there's going to be some things that we do that are similar to what you've seen in the past. The biggest thing that you're going to see, our identity is going to be on the defensive end. We're going to play some zone. I think everyone plays a little bit of zone, but we're going to play hard man to man. We're going to switch when we can. We're going to trap when we can. We really want to force turnovers and rebound the ball. Offensively, I want to push it and kind of play free flowing. We're going to have sets. I mean, at the end of the day, to beat a good team and to be a great team, you have to be able to execute half-court offense. There's no doubt about that. But I do want our guys playing aggressive. I want them attacking downhill. I want multiple guys that can handle it and use ball screens and pass. And I want our guys, to feel like they have a green light. If you have a good shot and you're a good shooter, shoot it, And we're going to be aggressive on the offensive glass. But our biggest thing, I jokingly told someone last year, I wasn't a very good defender myself. I told someone my saddest moment of my coaching career is when I truly realized that defense was the most important part of the game. That was my saddest moment as a coach. I said that jokingly, but I thought last year the reason we had so much success was I thought 80% of our practice was defense. We really focused on it. We had guys that loved to guard the ball, were tenacious defensively, and that's going to be our identity going forward. I mean, you got to have guys that can make shots. You got to have guys that can create, do things offensively. But ultimately, what it really comes down for us is we want guys that want to put the ball in front of their nose and keep it in front, and then of course, be active and try to, cause chaos defensively. So that's really, our biggest identity, for Nicholls State basketball.
And Coach, I know the non-conference schedule is big for teams like yourself in the mid-major level. So I know you got to do a lot of guarantee games. You got to play some 2-for-1s to get people to come to your place and maybe some exempt tournaments. So with you being the head coach, knowing that you kind of have to play some guarantee games, how do you see yourself going, filling the rest of the non-conference schedule, knowing you got some guarantees you have to kind of raise money for that department with there?
Yeah, that's just part of it. We're not the only school that has to do it. I think a lot of teams in our conference and other conferences go through it. Ultimately, I tell people all the time, it comes down to 2 or 3 games in March. You got to win the conference tournament, and you got to play well in January. We're really kind of testing ourselves in November. We play Louisville, Baylor, Washington State, and Ole Miss. That's like 4 of our first 5 games, And, I tell our guys, you want that opportunity to play on national TV. You want that opportunity to, play the best of the best, and, we plan on going in there and competing. I mean, going in trying to win the game, and you look at last year, I think we were 6 and 7 going in the conference. And, of course you want to have a winning record, but we again tested ourselves playing, a really good non-conference schedule. And when you look at what happened on the back end, I think it really helped us. We went 15-3 in league. We were ready. We were battle tested against a few NCAA tournament teams, and we were ready to play. I think, it is tough. You have to raise, money, but look, at the end of the day, you're going to go play somebody 5-on-5, throw the ball up, and see what you can do. That's kind of our attitude with it, and we're excited. We're going to play some really good competition, and I'm excited to see how we do.
Yes, indeed. Well, Coach Claunch, I'll tell you what, man, you got me excited for you. I look forward to talking to you in the fall again right when everything gets tipped off there, man. So I feel like they're in good hands with you. Keeping somebody off Coach Riley's staff was a great idea by the university. Glad they gave you the job. Look forward to having you on the show in the future again, Coach. And I'll take your advice about the Bahamas as well, man.
Let me know, man. You have a good time out there. Travel safe. And I really appreciate you guys having me on the show.
I sure will, Coach Claunch. You have a great day, man. Talk to you real soon, buddy.
Yes, sir. See you later.
All right, it's Austin Claunch on the Bossman Show. All right, folks, we're back here in the Jared the Bossman Show. We're going to talk to the new coach of UNC Asheville, the Bulldogs. Coach Mike Morrell with me on the Bossman Show. Coach Morrell, how are things over there in Asheville, man?
Things are good, man. Things are good. I grew up in this area, so it's good to be back over this way. It's not quite as hot as it was in Texas, man, but we've been burning up here lately. But it's It's good to be back in this area, man. We're doing well, and we're enjoying having most of our guys on campus and enjoying the summer a little bit.
Now, Coach, how's the community been knowing that you from the community? This is kind of your part of the world here. How's people been knowing that they got one of their own back? Because I know Coach McDevitt was one of their own as well, and they have you as one of their own. So kind of keeping that same theme of having guys who are familiar with the Asheville area. So how good has that been? How's people been treating you since you've been back from Texas?
It's been good, man. I'm not actually from Asheville, but I'm from the area. I'm from right across the state line in Tennessee, in the Johnson City area. And, one of the things that was so attractive about this job was just the fact of, the community really supports this program. And, we don't have football and men's basketball is a key cog in the things that we do around here. And, as an assistant coach, you're always looking for an opportunity that you can be successful at. You have people who support you not only in the community but in your administration. And I've got a tremendous AD and just people around here who want to win, but they want to help people and they want to help student athletes. So I'm really fortunate to be in a position where we've got a great connection with the community, and it's really a partnership in helping these guys, become the best version of themselves.
And Coach, what's good about it is Coach McDevitt left a great program for you to inherit. You're not going to a rebuild job like some jobs are. You're going to a job that kind of already been built as a foundation, solid foundation, and then that's on you to put your own stamp on it. So as we go to that point, what are the things you're going to do for yourself in your program to try and put your culture on it, your stamp on the Asheville basketball program going forward?
Yeah, well, I mean, Coach McDevitt and Coach Biedenbaugh and the guys before them have obviously done a tremendous job here, just building a culture of winning. But we do have, we lost 4 seniors, and we lost Maceo Teague and Jonathan Baer to transfer. One went to Baylor and one went to Clemson, so they're now in Power 5 leagues. So we lost, probably 6 out of our top 7. So it's not a rebuild in terms of you're trying to completely rebuild a culture because this program's been good for a long, long time. But it is it's going to be a transition period for us and having a lot of new faces around this campus and in our program. So it is an ability for me to come in and put my own stamp on it, but also realize that, the people who, we've got an awesome facility here. And just, again, the ton of support. And one of the reasons for that is because of the guys who have came before me and the job that they've done here. It's an opportunity for me to come in and, like you say, put my own stamp on it. And we're going to do that. But we're also very cognizant of those guys who have had a ton of success here. So, again, I'm really fortunate because this is a basketball school. And it's an opportunity for me to come in and my first opportunity as a head coach and be at a place that really values ball.
Now, Coach, you guys be helpful. You got guys on campus kind of help putting your stamp on it this summer, having them maybe work them out a little bit, implement some of your style, some of your workouts, some of your drill work as well, and some scheme if you want to even go that far. So how important is the workouts being seen at the 4 hours now from 2? It's going to help you for as getting things kind of implemented to help you guys when it gets live in October and in November when games start.
Yeah, I think what it allows you to do is just not feel like you got to crunch everything in. And having the ability to have 4 hours. I don't know how many coaches around the country are using all of those 4 hours. Maybe some are, maybe some aren't. But, it's just an ability for me to come in and not feel like, you got to do 100 things in a certain amount of time. It gives you a little bit more time to plan. It gives you a little bit more time to actually learn about your guys on the floor. Because, early on, and I'm 2 months in right now, but that's been the best opportunity for me to build a relationship with our guys, is actually getting out on the floor and sweating with them and working with them and just having the opportunity to learn more about them as people. So that's been very, very helpful. Again, I would be interested to see how many coaches in the country are actually using all of those 4 hours. There's been weeks where, we've done that, and then there's been a few weeks where we've not used all 4 of our hours because it is a lot for these guys. Because I really feel like for us, this time of year is a great opportunity for them to get bigger, get stronger, get faster, get in shape and things of that nature. And obviously, being in the weight room and spending time. So it's a healthy balance because they're also going to class and things. But you also want them to feel like they have a little bit of a summer as well. So it's been good, though. I've really enjoyed that increase in the hours.
Now, Coach, what's been the biggest adjustment for you going from a long-time assistant to being a head man now? Moving up there one seat. How big of adjustment has it been for you thus far? And not that you've had to do it in game-wise yet, but just doing all the behind-the-scenes administrative stuff.
Yeah, I think without question it's been just you go from making suggestions all day to having, to make decisions at every turn. And so, when you do that, that can wear you down because you early on, I think you probably tend to put some pressure on yourself to try to make every decision the right way, and that's just not possible. So, for me, it's definitely been that, and then trying to take a little portion of the day to grab a deep breath, and just relax for a second, because it is, one thing I've learned in the first, 8-9 weeks on the job is that you've got to try to take care of yourself, because if not, you can literally run yourself out. So, as an assistant, you can really kind of sit there and plan out your day and check the box and do the to-do list and all that. But now as a head coach, there's a lot of things that slide on your desk on a daily basis that you had no idea was coming or anything like that. So I was pretty regimented as an assistant in terms of feeling like I had to get a couple, a certain amount of things done a day. And, as a head coach, you're just some days it's putting out fire, some days some player, or you got to be somewhere. And it's the sliding over, like you say, 18 inches makes a world of a difference in terms of just not offering up suggestions all day, but actually making decisions.
And Coach, for as recruiting, how are you going to go about recruiting? Are you going to be more of a high school guys, or you going to go more grad transfer, JUCO guys, or sit one, play ones, or sit one, play twos? So how you feel like compose that roster there?
Yeah, I think we'll have a healthy mix of all. And I think at our level, and really the entire college basketball as a whole, the recruiting model is really changing. The one record that our sport continues to break every single year is the number of transfers that seemingly leave schools. And so for us, we had 4, students transfer out of our program. 2 went to higher levels and 2 to lower levels. And so, that's something that you got to replace, and you want to try to get older. So, I think the opportunity to, if it's the right fit, take a kid who's transferring that can sit out and play, 2 or 3 years. It can be healthy because it's a way to get a little older, a little quicker. But, for me, it's more about just finding the right fit for our program and, trying to get guys that fit our culture, both from a playing standpoint, but more importantly, just from a personal standpoint, and as a coach, early on, you want to make for sure you're taking guys who fit you as a head coach, but also fit the pieces that you're putting together, from a roster standpoint. Now, I'm really excited about the guys that we've gotten so far and, the way we're headed.
Now, also, Coach, for a style of play, what's going to be a style of play you implement? You going to play fast, defend and rebound, get out in transition, free-flowing, or you more of just a set, running sets, and then try to play a little bit of zone? So based on your roster you've seen so far, how do you see yourself going about it?
Well, I think it was Coach Huggins I was listening to one time in a clinic. He said, you coach what you know. And what I know is to play fast and get up and down the floor. And, I was lucky to work for Shaka Smart for the last 8 years and, be around him and be at VCU and be at Texas and really have a front row seat to, some great programs and be a part of that. And so I think for us, you'll really see us try to get out and transition early and often. And then we'll be more of a set-oriented team from there. But we're really going to try to utilize our guards to get downhill and attack the rim at every chance that we get. And I think you'll see us take a lot of threes, take the right threes, but take a lot of threes. And as you can tell, whether it's the NBA, college, whatever, we're shooting more and more threes as the years go on, and that's the way our game's really developing. So I think that's what you'll see us do. And then defensively, we're going to extend our defense and really try to, pressure our opponent within the realm of that we can. But that's obviously still developing too, because I've got two guys that I've never had the opportunity to work with, who are coming in July. So they're going to be, they're going to be able to help our team next year. So, it's going to be ever evolving. But again, you coach what you know, and that's what I know. And getting up and down is going to be the style of play that we're going to be most familiar with.
Now, knock on scheduling, Coach. How are you going to schedule these games going forward? I know a lot of schedules probably done for you. How do you see yourself going about scheduling non-conference going forward?
Well, for us, I mean, it's some of the schedule was done. We've been able to, kind of put our stamp on the schedule, probably a little bit more than most coaches, just because there was a little more work that needed to be done. Obviously, we're going to, go out and play a few high major teams in our non-conference and test ourselves that way. And then, we've always had a healthy dose of Southern Conference opponents, on our schedule and playing guys at our level in home and homes. But, we're going to want to schedule aggressively, especially as we get older and our team gets older. But, we're probably, I don't know the exact numbers, but I got to imagine we're probably going to be the youngest team in the Big South next year. So we're trying to schedule smart, but also really challenge ourselves, which I think we've done. So I think our fans are going to be really excited when they see the schedule come out.
Now, Coach, if you could discuss who are some coaches who really had a big impact on you in your career and has helped you in the business, inside and out of the business, and be the man you are today?
Well, I worked for Shaka Smart for, again, the last 8 years. So he's obviously had the biggest impact on me from a coaching standpoint of anybody in my career. I met Coach when I was a GA at Clemson, and he was an assistant coach there, and then he hired me at VCU, and I went to Texas with him, and he's had the biggest impact on me from a coaching standpoint, and also on a personal standpoint too, because he's one that has always believed in the connection between the player and the person, and really valuing the player as a person. So he's had the biggest impact on me. I mean, there's others. Mike Rhodes at VCU, who I worked with for 4 years at VCU, is a guy who's had a tremendous impact on me. And we could go right down the line. I'm lucky to be in a family of coaches with Shaka Smart and Will Wade and Mike Rhodes and Jamie and Christian and Jeremy Ballard, who we all worked together at one point in time, at VCU. And there's some other guys, Mike Jones at Radford, who were also worked there when, before I got there. So I'm lucky as a young head coach to be able to lean on some guys like that, who have all in their own way impacted me. From a basketball standpoint, but more importantly on a personal level. Yes,
indeed. Well, I tell you what, Coach, I look forward to seeing you guys at Asheville play. I've kept an eye on you guys just because I'm a big basketball fan in general. And, a lot of guys, you mentioned Jamie and Christian, Mike Jones, are guys who come on the show all the time. And I like that you all know each other. That's real cool to me. All of you guys know each other. So that's definitely a cool thing. Yeah. So, Coach, I'll definitely have you on again in the fall. Look forward to talking to you in the future, man. I've enjoyed this first conversation with you. Look forward to doing it with you many years to come, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Coach. Have a great day, man.
Take care.
All right, it's Mike Morrell on the Bossman Show. All right, folks, back in the JR the Bossman Show. We're about to be joined by the Western Carolina Catamounts new head coach, Mark Prosser, here with me on the Bossman Show. Coach Prosser, I'll tell you what, I was a big fan of your father, and I'm glad to have you on the show because I've been a fan of his, and I feel like I'm talking to him about talking to you, Coach. So I'm glad you can talk to him to come on the show, man.
No, I really appreciate having me, and I really appreciate the kind words about my father. He really enjoyed spending time there and his time in the ACC. So, in recruiting there, it was pretty fruitful to him. So it means a lot that you brought him up, and it certainly means a lot that you thought him up for us to have us on the show.
Yes, indeed. Now, Coach, what does it mean to you, Coach, to get this opportunity to coach this is SoCon again. I know that SoCon is one of the great conferences out there, man. And we're being around your dad. I mean, it's kind of that same kind of ACC country, a little bit Western Carolina in general, and Georgia ACC country as well. So I feel to be over there, Western Carolina with the Catamounts, kind of build that program up. Coach Hunter done a great job of that program for so many years out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's not. I'm very, very. It's wonderful because I come into a situation that is not something that's broken. Coach Hunter's done a great job here for a really long time, and living up to what he built this program to be is something that's fun and exciting for me and for our staff and for our players. And continue to build on what he did here. And you mentioned it. And the Southern Conference is a very good league. There's very good players in this league. There's very good coaching in this league, and I think it's very underrated, somewhat on a national level. But a really exciting challenge for us. And again, you alluded to my father and the way that he recruited, and I think that he did a nice job of recruiting in our home state, in North Carolina, and had some guys that are still playing from North Carolina over at Wake, and they spent a lot of time trying to keep some of the local kids home, and we feel that that's very important also. So just a great opportunity at a wonderful place with a good basketball tradition that we're just looking forward to trying to build over the next several years.
And Coach, how helpful has it been for you with the new 4-hour rule for workouts here in the summertime to kind of help build your program, build a bond with your players, build a rapport, kind of get see them in a situation on the court a little bit there, because I know what you got. It's just you kind of give you some practice plan a little bit more than this workout. Maybe you can have an hour practice
Sure.
throughout the week. So how's it helping you out as being a new coach and implement your style?
Yeah, you know what? I hope it hasn't helped anybody yet because we haven't had our guys here. So I hope nobody's benefiting from it. No, our guys come in about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks. So, we haven't had the opportunity to take advantage of that quite yet. We will soon. I think it's great. I think especially, we have several new kids coming in, and we're trying to, even with the kids that we have returning, we're trying to implement a new system offensively and defensively. I think, every minute we had in the spring was valuable, and I think that every minute we have in the summer is going to be the same way as we continue to prepare for that first game in November. We'll look forward to that, and we've been sort of counting the days until we get our kids back, which is coming very, very soon, and we're anxious to do so. But I said it before, we kind of got here into April a little bit, had a quick spring of workouts and kind of getting to know one another, the players and coaches. And then it was like Christmas morning, we had a toy to play with, and then your parents took it away from you. We haven't had our kids here for a while, but thank goodness they're coming back soon. And we're certainly looking forward to that. And I do think, like you said, I think it helps to have a couple extra hours on the floor, and you certainly don't want to wear guys out or, you don't want to run guys ragged in the summertime. You still want them to be hungry and focused when they come back and not beat up. So it's a fine line I think you have to walk a little bit. But, man, we're excited about it, and I think our kids are excited to get back as well.
Exactly. Now, I'll tell you what do you feel has changed most about the Southern Conference in your years of being in the business over the years? I feel like, the basketball's gotten better. Like, you had Matt McCall at Chattanooga where he went to Massachusetts, Steve Forbes over at ETSU, Wes Miller at Greensboro doing what they're doing. So do you feel like that's the quality of coaching, the quality of player, the quality of just the game itself has got supposed to be over the years there?
Yeah, and I think you mentioned some very, very good ones. I would add Mike Young at Wofford to that list, who I spent a lot of time with and worked for, and the program that he's built, and obviously what Coach Hoffman's done over at Mercer, right in your backyard, has been fantastic as well. And it's challenging, and you have to feel up to the challenge to take on that, that game schedule where you're going to you're going to go up against several of those guys that you mentioned, and several more that are very good basketball coaches. It's changed a little bit since I was at Wofford several years ago, and to honor the College of Charleston, Davidson, the App States, and things like that. But the basketball is still very good. The caliber of player is getting better and better. And again, we're trying to make sure that we're up to that challenge, and we're recruiting young men that can compete and excel in this league, and then excel on a national level as well, and have the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. And then once you're there, you kind of see what you can do, and that's the goal, and that's where we'll be every year. But again, it's the people that you mentioned and the coaches that are present already within the league. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, but we're certainly looking forward to it.
Now, Coach, as you try to build out this roster in the future going forward, are you looking for more high school guys or transfer guys, JUCO guys, and maybe international guys too if it fits right? So, and what kind of composition of the roster are you looking for each year? Are you trying to get balanced, or do you want to be old most of the time, or you want to try to go young sometimes as well and just build?
Yeah, I think it's they're all different, and what you feel you need today might be totally different than what you feel you need tomorrow. And you try to fill those holes with what you feel like is right at the time. And we sort of came in and we were anxious. We have a good group of core players back. And we felt the need to hopefully address some needs initially, immediately, and then sort of build for the future as well, because I do think it's about building a program. And the teams that I've been around that have been successful in coaching in in-state tournaments have been teams that have had experience, and they've been in the system. And the older guys, the guys that have been around, can sort of bring the other guys along, and sort of you have that culture of winning and the culture of the players sort of coaching one another and saying, this is what we're about, this is how we do things. So I do think it's important to have experience within your program. But again, it's hard to pinpoint exactly this is how, how we're going to recruit. We're going to focus on this. I think it just kind of depends on fit, finding the right young man for what you're looking for, finding the right student athlete that fits your program, that fits your university. And then it doesn't matter to me what that looks like, where they're coming from. It doesn't matter to me as long as they're about the things that we're about, as long as they're the type caliber student athlete that Western Carolina wants to have. When they fit that mold and they're about the right things, then I think we'll be on to something, again, no matter sort of where they're coming from.
Now, Coach, the biggest question I get from high school guys and other AAU coaches around the area is about style of play. So, if you could, Coach, share with my listeners the style of play you plan on employing, just your philosophy of how you love to play each year, but, of course, you're going to kind of tailor it to what kind of roster you have. But how do you want to play ideally, Coach?
Yeah, I think you have to adapt a little bit to the personnel that you have. But I'm similar. My father used to say when he was awake, and even when he was at Xavier before that, the older I get, the faster I want to play. And I want to play fast, and then I want to transition from defense to offense very, very quickly. That doesn't mean doing it, irresponsibly and turning the ball over and taking bad shots, but I want to get the best shots we can get for our team as quickly as possible. I think, if you look through our history and our staff's background, we've been involved in offenses that have been, the top 25 at times in the country in scoring. And I'd like to play that way. And, that doesn't necessarily mean, running and trapping and pressing and all that defensively, but, transitioning to offense very quickly, a brand of basketball that I think that the young men want to play in that's attractive. And that's what we're trying to do here, make an attractive brand of basketball for people to come and attract student athletes, but also to fill up that arena. It's beautiful. That seats about 8,000 people that we have right on campus. And it's a fun brand of basketball to watch, to come and spend, your entertainment dollars seeing, watching a bunch of young men that you can be proud of and represent you as a fan and alumni base very well. Again, like you said, hopefully it's something that kids and prospects and student athletes you speak to find attractive and may want to be a part of at some point.
And a non-conference scheduling, Coach, is another big thing about it, because, I get asked it a lot too. And I try to explain to different coaches and young men that for the mid-major teams, non-conference scheduling is a bear, because you might have you got to deal with guaranteed games for one thing, depending on the size of your program.
Sure.
I mean, university, what they need you to do. You might get played in an exempt tournament, which still, which is tricky at best, depending on if you can get in or not. Then you got to get
Very
2
well
for
played.
ones, if you want to get somebody to come play you at home. So for guys on your level, it's just a maze and a puzzle trying to figure out getting 13 good games non-conference-wise to get you ready for conference play. So if you could, Coach, explain us, how are you going to go about it, Western Carolina? And do you have challenges that are listed above that I kind of tell people about when it comes to your level of basketball? Because it's just a thing that the regular fan does not understand, that you and I both understand pretty darn well.
Sure, absolutely. It's different. You're right. And I think people think that, hey, your school's close to this school and it makes sense. Why aren't you guys playing? And, we'd like to see that rivalry happen and for a lot of reasons, it's difficult. And the main reason is because you have 351 Division I head coaches that are all trying to schedule 31 home games and 31 wins. And it doesn't work out that way. It's really hard to do so. But you're right. I mean, every school has their own challenges when they're putting their schedule together. And you play a couple guarantee games, and you might have to travel a little bit. And when you get it going, when you're good, and you start winning some games, or people think highly of you, they don't want to come and play you at your place. And you got to find the right opportunity to have home games against good competition. And there's a lot of parts of that are a compliment. If people don't want to come to your place and play you, because that means they think you're pretty good, which, hey, that's great. So you need somebody to sign on that dotted line on that contract to say that they'll come and play. I do think you want to try to build your team up and put them in a situation to be successful, and put them in a position to be ready to go once conference play starts. Because really for us and for teams at the mid-major level, that's what's most important. And we're going to be 99% of the time a one-bid league from the Southern Conference, as most of them are. But I do think that if you have your guys ready and are starting to play, starting to peak, play at their highest level in late February, mid-February, late February, and into March, you have to put yourself in a situation where to win those 3 or 4 games and play in the NCAA tournament, which again, that's the goal for all of us, and that's going to be our goal, year in and year out. And I do think that there's a way to go about it. I think there's a science to scheduling, and there's a science to keeping your guys, good physically, mentally, and making sure that they're building up towards something in late February and early March. And it's just pushing that right button at the right time and scheduling, sort of, again, scientifically to put yourselves in a situation to be successful.
If I were a guy for you, this is Coach. Coach, I spent a lot of time around the NBA with the Atlanta Hawks, traveling with them with their radio network team, and the Falcons as well, but mainly the NBA. So I want to ask you,
Sure.
Coach, are there some rules in NBA, maybe second shot clock, the 4 quarters, the 5 team fouls, advancing the ball at the end of the game, the 20-second shot clock that you may want to see implemented in college basketball to kind of make the game better for our fans who are not basketball heads like you or I, but just the casual fan who can stick to it from November on through March Madness, not just for March Madness only.
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's some things, advancing the ball and 4 quarters and things like that give us an opportunity as coaches to be a little more creative. Probably gives us a little more of an opportunity to call more timeouts and spend a lot more time with our guys. Just because you have the option to, run different things, advancing the ball. Now we're working on OBs. Now you have a different look at what you're doing. But I'm also a big believer that I don't think the college game is broken. I think we have a wonderful brand or a wonderful product that we put out. And you see it, throughout college basketball season every year, and you see it as it gets into March and the passion that people have for it. Your casual sports fan is totally tuned in, especially from championship week on into March, and the things that happened last year with UMBC and things like that. I think it just helps. Again, our college game is such a good one. I don't want to do too many things to change it because I do think our product is something that's very, very good. It's pure in a lot of ways when it's done right. And certainly, I enjoy being a part of that. Our team will certainly enjoy being a part of that as well. So I guess, a couple different ways to answer your question, but I do like what we have right now. I like what we have going. And again, I don't feel that it's broken much, in a lot of ways. I do kind of like the game that we have on the floor right now.
Well, Coach Pross, I'll tell you what, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on this show. Look forward to having you on the show again real soon. If you're coming to Peace Jam, we'd love to meet up with you. If you're coming to Peace Jam down here, while all these coaches coming to town, man, let have you in studio if you can make it down for that. But hopefully I'll definitely see you at Mercer when you guys play Mercer for sure. Definitely come down and check you guys out, man, for sure, Coach.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate you having me. It's great to meet you, and certainly wish you guys all the best.
Thanks, Coach. Have a great day, man. Talk to you real soon.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right. It's Mark Process, people, on the Bossman Show. All right, you folks, it's back in the JR the Bossman Show. You're going down to Huntsville, Alabama. Well, really normal Alabama, but it's really Huntsville. Down there with the Space Center, where I've been to multiple times. Coach Dylan Howard, interim coach of Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Coach Howard, man, how things down there this summer in Huntsville, man?
Well, everything is going good. It's nice and hot, and we've been working the boys pretty good. they're getting a taste of what it's all about with the new regime.
Well, Coach, how has this 4 hours been helpful to you? I know you got 4 hours now from 2 to work out these guys. So are you maybe doing like an hour practices a day? Are you doing split them up even more than that, trying to get more work out of them? Kind of put in your style, kind of get a feel for the new regime in town now.
Well, I mean, thank God for the NCAA because it was just perfect timing, with someone like myself taking over, being the head coach now, and now we're able to get extra time. So now I am able to put in my own philosophy of how we're going to guard things, how we're going to play, how we're going to attack on offense. And the way I've broken it down so far, we do 3 1-hour practices per week. But then on the fourth day, we'll break it down as far as just skill and developmental work.
And Coach, that's the main thing about the summertime is player development. That's a big thing nowadays, player development. Because if your guys aren't developing in the summertime, when they get a chance to really get better, when it's that summer, it's that spring and summer where they guys get better and get in the gym and kind of focus on that drill work and get themselves to the player they want to be for the upcoming season.
Exactly. I mean, it's huge, and in today's game, I think the fundamentals are just lost. I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and obviously Indiana being the basketball country that it is, I grew up on fundamentals. All my coaches taught fundamentals. So we spend, even if we're practicing for that hour, the first 15 to 20 minutes is just basic fundamental basketball. And I still say that's going to win you games in the end. So we really concentrate on that skill development work.
Exactly, and that's something that I've been around the Atlanta Hawks so much, Coach, is how Coach Budenholzer and his development staff really had regimented fundamental drill work, even for the NBA guys. And if you notice how a lot of the Hawks young players performed, either a guy you're familiar with, Antonius Cleveland from SEMO, how they made him much better in a short period of time just by the drill work they put him through pre-game, post-practice, before practice, just working with him on his game.
I mean, it's going to pay off, and it goes a long way. And that's, just to be able to start teaching our guys. I'm going to tell you just something as basic as a lot of my practices start off with a 4-corner passing drill where I'm teaching the chest pass, catch it in the numbers, catch it with 2 hands, step when you pass the ball, and then when we catch it, the guy that's passing the ball, he catches it on the bounce, and he just does a simple reverse pivot. And I tell you what, some of the guys struggled with that because they've never been taught that. It's amazing.
Wow. I remember those from basketball camps from Frankie Allen, Coach Howard. Frankie Allen taught me that in basketball camp. Maybe I'm 31 now. So that was how old was I then? That was like 20-something years ago. Learning his basketball camp at Tennessee State. Like, wow.
Yes, and something so simple like that goes a long way because I keep telling them about the jump stop, and then we incorporate it into what I call our basketball moves. Once we get the basketball, I'm teaching them the jump stop. Now you can pivot off either foot, but just basic fundamentals like that has been lost in today's game.
And Coach, you know what was crazy? Quick story. Last year, I was at Tennessee State's basketball camp with Coach Randy P. We were going over screens and how to cut off the screen. The kids in the high school division couldn't tell Coach Pill and I how many different ways you can go off screen. It'd be a flex cut, a V cut, flare. They couldn't tell us.
Yeah.
Simple stuff.
I know. I know. And just I'm going to just say that Coach Peel is one of the best. I like Coach Peel a lot.
He was like, Bossman, these kids don't know how to go always go off a screen. I'm like, I know, Coach.
Yeah.
Which he's like, tell the kids I learned this as 8 years old in basketball, how I do these things.
Exactly.
But I feel like Coach, I think about his coach, they just roll the ball, say play. That's the problem.
That's it. And it's a shame. It's a shame. But that's one thing I told our players, once they did hire me to be the head coach, I just told them, guys, we're going back to the lab. We're going back to basic fundamentals, and we'll build our way up from that.
And coach, far as your roster composition, with you being on staff previously, and so is it essentially you gotta have to keep a lot of the guys you're recruiting, a lot of guys you're talking to. You already built the bond with them, so they see you're the head coach now. Are they more receptive to still coming, or they kind of moving off the grid on you a little bit there?
No, they're everything is still full go. I mean, we were able to keep every single player. No one left, no one transferred out, and some of the recruits that we were still on, they're still in the fold. I mean, we really didn't miss a beat right now, which was great, and the continuity is still there. So, I mean, we were able to just pick up and move on, and like I said, everything has worked out great so far.
And now, speaking of the roster composition, coach, I know at the level of your level, being in the conference you're in, that you have to get some mixture of high school, a mixture of transfers, a mixture of JUCOs, a mixture maybe an national guy that works out for you. Depends on where they're from. So, in that sense, coach, are you trying to stay older per se, or maybe try to have a little bit of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior balance on your roster going forward?
Well, I think going forward, we're going to probably hopefully tap into the high schools a little bit heavier this coming up year. One thing about Huntsville right now, and even the state of Alabama, got some real good high school players coming up. Not only this 2019 class, but even 2020. So because right now we are heavy on the transfer side. So we're going to be a little bit older this year. So we want to really tap into some young talent and bring them in here early and go ahead and start developing them.
I hear that, coach, and I know non-conference scheduling is another thing on your level, coach. I try to tell a lot of young guys I talk to, and a lot of AAU coaches that you can't really. A lot of major schools, especially HBCU schools, have to play guarantee games. So so you can't really judge them off of their non-conference schedule. They have to raise money for that league department. That's a requirement. And then you got to try to get guys to come play you. And luckily, Huntsville is a town people are not averse to going to. Now, some schools is a town I'm not going there no matter what you forgive me. I'm not going there. But Huntsville's not the kind of a town, So you can probably do the 2-for-1s, or maybe try to get in a zip tournament in whether it be in Orlando or the Bahamas or wherever they have a zip tournament at. So, not coming scheduling wise. How do you see yourself going about doing it? Try to make sure that Alabama has the best schedule possible with the already built-in challenges that you have in building the schedule for non-conference wise.
Well, kind of like you just said, sometimes you do have to go for that 2-for-1 in order just to, for that 1 year, try to get a home game. You really try to concentrate on some of your area schools around the state to try to do a home and home. Sometimes you can even do a home and home in the same year. I've done scheduling, probably for the last 15 plus years. So I have a good feel of how to get the scheduling done to where it's not going to just absolutely devastate us as far as the non-conference. And like I said, you really got to try to stay within your area. And a lot of times those schools will give you a home and home, whether it be the same year or 1 year home at your place, and then the next year you go there. So, and sometimes you just got to get creative. But we've been pretty good. Like we played this year. We played Georgia State here at home. I know there's one more we brought in here and played at home, but it was pretty good. So if you're able to get 2 or 3 home games, you're doing pretty good as far as a SWAC school.
You got that right. And now, Coach, I want to ask you this, man. For as you personally, are there any rules you love to see? Maybe the NCAA tweak, maybe going to 4 quarters, maybe 6 personal fouls, team fouls setting at 5 if you go to 4 quarters, 20-second shot clock, advance the ball. I kind of need like the NBA does. I'm an NBA guy. I cover the Hawks all the time. So it's like, I think some of them rules will be good on the college level too. Maybe even send the line out a little bit to give us more space inside there. It was so compacted down there. So there's some rules in the NBA that you love to see. Maybe the college game may be adopted in the future here going forward.
Wow, I'm going to sound like an old man because I'm old school. Leave the college game the way it is.
I guess
the only thing that I might tweak, maybe move the 3-point line back again, because I think that 3-point shot has become a little bit too easy, and everyone now thinks they can shoot a 3 and they can't, because some of those percentages are pretty bad out there, because everyone now because the big man is pretty much almost obsolete. All big men want to shoot 3s now. So maybe I would look at maybe an NBA 3 even for college. But other than that, oh boy, leave that college game alone.
I got you, Coach. I got you, man. That's what I got for you, Coach. This food option in Huntsville. For people, I like to ask coaches about the food option in their town. So, Coach, for you, what is your maybe top 1 or 2 food spots in Huntsville to get you something to eat at, man, when you're leaving the office after a long day of hard work with your guys, man?
All right, I'm going to give you my number 1 is Moe's. Have you heard of Moe's?
The Southwest Grill?
Moe's is no. Moe's is a barbecue joint.
Oh, I love that.
And it is a chain, because I know they have one in Birmingham. But Moe's has some of the best ribs and some of the best wings you ever want to eat. And the sides are pretty good also. So Moe's right now is my number 1 go-to spot. And probably my number 2, I'm big on Chick-fil-A. I gotta have
I don't like it, Coach. I'll Chick-fil-A it out, man. I don't like it anymore. I done had it too much, probably. I don't like it no more.
Yeah, probably. But I can still keep eating it.
Yeah, see, Coach, you're like, I don't know, man. If I give food too much, I start not to like it. It's like Chick-fil-A a sandwich again. The chips and the cookie good.
You got to diversify. Sometimes you got to go with that salad.
Yeah. See, I get my sauce from Zaxby's, Coach. From Zaxby's for my salad.
Try the spicy Southwest salad.
Okay. I'll do that. For you, Coach, I'll do that, man. I'll do that for you, man. Like, it was funny. My guy that coaches out at Cal State Fulton, Coach Taylor, he came out here. He said, JR, take me to the Waffle House, man. I want some Waffle House. He wanted to go to the Waffle House. I was like, for real?
They don't have them. They don't have them out west.
Okay. Cause I was like, the Waffle House? Yeah, go to the Waffle House.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I see he ate that stuff up, Coach, like it wasn't nothing, man. He wolfed that joker down like he said, I gave some of this to go. To go?
Wow.
Because I don't eat it. So, like, I don't eat it, but I went with him because he wanted to go. I'm like, okay, we'll go.
Exactly.
But I don't want to
That's
eat.
big time.
Yeah. See, I'm a good guy, man. I just bit the bullet for my boy. I bit the bullet for him, Coach. I was like, okay, we'll go and go. We're going to go to Waffle House, man. We'll go and go, man. Ain't really my cup of tea, but I'll go there with you, man. But, Coach, when you come to town, man, go to Taco Mac or 6 Feet Under. It's a nice seafood restaurant. Got great food there. Or 10 Lizzie's. You can pick any 3 tacos, but $10.99 any way you want them. 10 Lizzie's.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's one right downtown on Peachtree. You can't miss it.
Okay. I always need a good place to eat over there. Yeah.
Are you coming to town for the Peach Jam? You coming to town?
I will not be there for the Peach Jam. I will, because I'm gonna pretty much. I'll be in the Atlanta area. That's where I'm pretty much gonna do all my recruiting, probably in the Atlanta area.
Okay, well, Coach, you got my number now, so when you come to town,
I got you.
Give me a holler. We'll definitely give you some 10 Lizzie's or some Taco Mac or some 6 Feet Under, because Coach, food in Atlanta, I love it, and I love barbecue, so it's all good, man.
Okay. All right, I'm going to definitely give you that call.
No doubt. Well, Coach, it's been a pleasure to have you on this show, Coach. I really like conversation, man. I wish you the best of luck this year, and I hope you turn this interim gig into a full-time gig going forward, man.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
All right, Coach. Have a great day, man. Talk to you real soon, Coach Howard.
All right. Take care. All right. Bye.